Hey, there we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are. Welcome back to the live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is August 18th, 2019. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How's it going there, chat room? It's 4 p.m. Europe time, according to Renegade VI. Oh, yeah, nice. New hat today. My hat consigliere. Yeah, my hat consultant, my daughter. We're out shopping at the mall last night. Dad, you need this one. Look at that. Platform 9 3/4, and it looks like I'm one of the crew working the train station, making sure that everything's cleaned up there at platform 9 3/4, where, of course, Harry Potter caught the train to Hogwarts. How's it going, chat room? Let's say hello to everybody here. Rambling Geek, good to see you. Hello, hello. Copper Beardy, Tajari. Spent the last 6 hours on JavaScript and need a little C# in your life. Well, welcome on in. Good to see you.
Ewart Walker just free subscribed for 3 months.
I'm not sure why. The first one always is double like that, but wow, thanks so much for the resub. And now it's not going to read that one. What mischief indeed there, Svava. Mischief? Mischief? We're going to get into so much mischief today, it's going to be amazing. The more you know. Okay, let's see. Hello, who else is here? Tajari says, has anyone done the ASP.NET Core workshop with the conferences and can explain the purpose of the DTO project between the front end and the back end? I might know a thing or two about that. We can talk about that. Good to see you. But Bauxite says that guy seems a little sketchy. What? What?
Totes, my
No,
goats.
no. I've got to have a better retort here. No, of course. Listen, Bauxite, Tagari, look.
I drink and I know.
No,
things.
that's not the right one either. No. I've got a good sound effect here. I know I've got a good one. Hang on.
Are these really the questions that I was called here to answer?
No.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
I'm the dude. Okay. I think that's the right one there. Let's see. 5 p.m. in the Middle East. You're a fan of the hat. These streams are great, says Tajari. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad you enjoy a little bit of fun that we have here together here on the stream. Is that number right? It's off slightly, our follower goal here. It says 2341 on Twitch. For some reason, Stream Elements is always off by just a little, just a smidge. Always not quite the way I want it. I'll touch that up real quick as we're getting started here. So we spent a bit of time this week. It was a great week. My gosh, even though I had to cancel Wednesday, I spent the beginning of the week in Seattle. We visited with our friend Phil Hack. We learned a little bit about Git and GitHub.
C# do the thing.
I'm going to do the thing. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. See, I've already got to start the thing, right? Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for that very kind cheer. We'll make a donation, just like we're going to make a donation for, is that UNT Walker. We're going to make donations to Coder Dojo this quarter. We're going to support them in their mission to train folks, give them an opportunity to grow in this technical community. Whether it's building facilities, training trainers, we're going to help folks anywhere get an opportunity in the technical industry. Thanks so much, Carrie. Thanks so much, UNT Walker. I hope I pronounced that right. Let me know. Oh, look at all the emotes. Absolutely. All right, that should fix the number there. 2341 is where we're at. When that number gets to 8,000, if it gets there before September 15th, I will dye my beard rainbow for the week of .NET Conf and TwitchCon. You may have seen the TwitchCon schedule came out. Oh, there's a TwitchCon schedule out. And you might know somebody. I'm not saying, but you might know somebody. Let's go over to the... There we go. Look, you can see the webpage now. If you're a developer going to TwitchCon, you might know somebody who's giving a workshop here at 1:30 on day 1. Look at that! I am hosting and delivering the official TwitchCon workshop for developers. Build an interactive experience on Twitch with the API extensions and artificial intelligence. It's going to be amazing. If you're there, make sure you stop by and say hello if you're going to be at TwitchCon. If you're not going to be there, why aren't you there? It's going to be recorded. It'll be streamed. Something, it'll be available. Let me get some music playing in the background here before we get into our project. Eeny, meeny, miny. This one. This is called Orchid. There we go. This is music to code by, and they're a series of about 20 songs that are designed to get you in the groove, to get you in the flow, so that whatever task you're working on, you can focus on. You can get in that state of flow and don't have to worry about all those other things, right? Get uber focused on whatever the task is at hand, whether it's coding, homework, reading, learning from documentation. I was doing that just this week. Or doing housework, dishes, lawn work, whatever it might be. I may have done that a couple times. A few. A lot, okay? Check it out. Thank you, Carrie, for triggering the music command there in the chat room. Music to code by from our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com. And let him know on Twitter. He is at Carl Franklin. Let him know you enjoy hearing the music. We want to thank him for letting us listen to the music while we're writing some code together here live on stream. Twitch blog next month. How we made bots using AI. Maybe? Sure. That sounds good, Renegade VI. Good afternoon. Is that Sven Vandenbrand? Van Den Brand. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon to you indeed. Tajari asks, what's the story with the JavaScript horses? Horses love JavaScript. Didn't you know this? Didn't you know this? Do you know Horse.js? That's a thing. It's not my thing, but it's that's not my account. I don't troll JavaScript with the Horse.js account, but someone else does. And it's a thing. The horses is the sound effect from Young Frankenstein. Whenever they ran into Frau Blucher, the horses would neigh whenever they would say her name. So, given the dubious nature with which I tread into JavaScript here on stream, we thought it'd be funny if there was a similar dubious nature at which, whenever we mentioned and talked about JavaScript, the horses would neigh. Whether it's me triggering it, or you can trigger it from the chat room with the JavaScript command. All right, there, chat room. So, I'm hosting this panel at TwitchCon. I'm really looking forward to it. There's a bunch of other things happening at TwitchCon that I have planned. Folks will be able to actually write with the horse language. I didn't say it. In this workshop, I'm also going to be delivering it in C#. JavaScript, just say nay. I like that, McNerdius. Hey, Ancient Coder, good to see you.
Tonton Shino just subscribed.
Tonton Shino, thank you so much for that subscription. Bringing your Twitch Prime to us. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I am flattered by that. Of course, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can link it to your Twitch account and it'll become Twitch Prime, and you get one subscription you can use anywhere you'd like here on the service. If you decide to share that with me, you'll get 17 emotes, and I'll make a donation to Coder Dojo. Thanks so much, Tonton Shino. Welcome. That'll put you in a purple loyalty hat. You'll see that next to some of the other folks in chat. All right. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff happening at TwitchCon. That whole week is like crazy because, right, .NET Conf, we're running for 24 hours. We have a 24-hour stream as part of .NET Conf. It is insane. We've got speakers from every continent. And I do mean every. I have a speaker from Antarctica. Ho-ho! Would you believe it was harder to find a speaker from Africa than it was from Antarctica? What is that? Come on, my peeps. It was harder to find a speaker from Africa. Thank you for the follow. Is that Gal Pallid? Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome. Nice to meet you. All right. Let me know about my sound. I added a noise suppressor filter to this. Let me know if everything sounds okay. Hey, Brave Cobra. You love the Balmer GIF? Yeah, we gotta welcome in all the developers. Where did my mouse go? There it is. So, at TwitchCon, I'm doing some very special things for the Live Coders team. I shared with you last time. We're going to be giving all the Live Coders that signed up a jersey, a team jersey. Check this out. If this goes over well, if the folks on the team, if they're okay with it, we might make this available for the community to buy. Look at that! Oh my gosh. Huge thanks to our friends from Content Lab who are helping us with a little bit of sponsorship dollars to outfit all the Live Coders. And we're going to recognize them, thank them with a little badge on the jersey, but that looks so cool. I love how the bottom looks like it's a GitHub commit graph, you know? So, very cool stuff. We're going to be making sure that all the Live Coders that want one get their own jersey. You just have to apply. I froze membership here for the beginning of August just because I need to lock down and make sure that I have enough sponsorship dollars to cover all my costs for TwitchCon. And I may be contacting Sticker Mule for some things for that. Really looking forward to the event. So, big week at TwitchCon. And I may send out a couple jerseys early to some folks that will be Live Coders speaking as part of .NET Conf, so they can wear their jerseys while they're live on the air for that event. All right, so that's what's going then. October is silent. Nothing's happening in October. We don't like October. Quiet October. Keep it that way. Because the first week of November, I'm at Ignite. Second week of November, I'm at Tech Bash in the Pocono Mountains right here in Pennsylvania. Third week of November, I'm in Las Vegas for Dev Intersection. Dev Intersection, of course, amazing developer-focused, developer-only event, really. Tons of great content, top speakers. You can't find this content anywhere else. And we're going to be broadcasting live all week from Dev Intersection. We've got Dev Intersection TV shows starting September 5th? Every week, right through until Dev Intersection in November. It's going to be amazing. Myself, Richard Campbell, Michelle Bustamante, Zoiner Tejada. It's going to be are going to be your hosts. Make sure you check out the Dev Intersection channel. Can I get a shout out for the Dev Intersection channel? Carrie Payette will be at Dev Intersection. Oh yes, that's right. Another one of the Live Coders. Carrie will be there. Oh yes, Fava. Big woo on that. Let's see here. How many Live Coders are there? Asks, is that Renew Live? There are 66 right now, and I do not have a cap on those folks. It's pretty easy to become a member of the Live Coders team. We're looking for folks that are an affiliate, folks that are on Twitch on a regular basis, folks that are positive, welcoming, outgoing, and actually talk to the chat room. If you don't talk to the chat room, if you don't engage with them at all, that's a problem. And it's okay if you do things besides code on Twitch. Our friend Fierce Kittens, she does sewing, all kinds of other art here on Twitch, but she's one of the OG Live Coders, and you'll see her, of course, writing code occasionally. You know, Tuesday nights typically is when she likes to do it. And you'll see Vex FX. Vex, of course, is a Hollywood special effects style artist. He also writes code to help drive some of his special effects and to manage his stream live on stream. Really great stuff. Sewing is a little like programming, says Alka. Absolutely, it is. So, big shout out for the Dev Intersection. Thank you so much. Hey, Ancient Coder, good to see you. So, There should be a talk about why so many game devs never commenting their code. Says Renegade VI. Well,
do your best.
You should just do your best. Get somewhere close there. Sorry, we're looking for English only in the chat room. Latjor. Or Latjor. We're doing great. Thanks so much for asking. Alright. Let me see here. Alright, let's get into this. What the heck is that? What was that? Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. Aliens, I don't know. Just the song got a little crazy there. I don't know. Let's see if it happens when we hit that point in the song again next time. Maybe I need to move it to a faster drive or something. I don't know. That's weird. Okay. So, we've been working on, hack the mainframe. No, I'm not playing off a tape deck. I'm playing off of OneDrive, which should be local, but I don't know. Now I question that. Is OneDrive doing something to my files there while I'm moving it around? You know? All right. Okay. So we've been working on our Blazor application that's designed to present and manage resources, human resources, people, right? People's schedules. You're right. We need to put the project in there. So we are working on the resource management application and completing some database interactions. And let's put a link to the project. That would be here. So what was that API I showed earlier? API for Twitch. No, that's TwitchCon. This is where I'm going to be speaking. I'm giving this workshop at TwitchCon. And we've worked with the Twitch APIs here for a while on stream. Okay, so we've been working through this project, and it allows folks to start to set their availability. Hey, I'm available at this time. I'm not available at this time. So that when they look at the schedule of employees, they could figure out exactly when to make classes happen, when to schedule those things, so that they can handle and they can run their facility well, I guess, right? What was said about the OG live coders? I missed it, says Rambling Geek. So Rambling Geek is another one of the live coders. When I mentioned the OG live coders, the old guard, Fierce Kittens, she's been on this platform for more than 3 years and has been writing code live on here during that time. Suze Hinton, No Opcat, she's been on the platform for 3+ years and has been writing code on the platform. Eric Guzman, Talk to Me Guzman, he's been on the platform for more than 2.5 years and has been writing code, right? Lucky Number 7, he's been writing code on the platform for a very, very long time. So those are some of the OG folks, some of the old guard, the original guard that were writing code here. I've been inspired by them. I've learned from them, learned from some other folks on Twitch and some other places, some other mediums, some other things, some other.
You keep using the word.
No,
I do not think it means what you think it means.
And I've put together this stream. So, yeah, I started programming many years ago as well, Alka, and I've grown into it, and I really enjoy teaching, educating, sharing here on Twitch. So we built this application using Blazor, and
Squirrel.
Yeah, let's get back to the project. And the user interface for setting up availability looks nice, but it's not saving properly. it's not saving the schedules back to the database properly. So we're going to need to drill into this, figure out what broke when we're trying to save those schedules. And the second half of this that we need to get into is we need to finish and work on our manager view. So as an employee, I can say, here's my schedule. But as a manager, I need to be able to look across all the employees and see how many folks are available or not available at any given time during the week as I go to craft my schedule, right? So, looks like I misspelled his name, should be 2 G's. 2 G's, who G's? Yeah, there you go. Yep. It tries to validate and make sure that it's actually a real Twitch account before it does the shout out. Okay. Let's get into this with why the schedules are not saving properly. And I have a feeling that I'm going to need to open the database.
One rolls downstairs, owner and pairs, rolls over your neighbor's dog. Looks great for a snack, it fits on your back, it's log, log, log.
Yes, the database log. So let me go open the the project is open. Where is it? Is it here? There it is. It always weirds me out when I open Visual Studio and I don't see any code. It's like, where'd it go? It's open, isn't it? Yeah, it's here. All right. So I'm going to run the application so we can take a look-see. So I did a Control F5, so I open it in without the debugger attached, so we can take a look at what's going on in here. Get this lined up, because once I get the data interaction working properly, again, I want to move forward and finish presenting it in that manager view, and I want to make sure that it looks nice on that manager view. And at some point, we're going to want to do like a drill down. Not just, here's a number of folks that are available in each hour of each day. So you get kind of, maybe I even color it, make it a heat map. Make it a heat map. That'd be cool. But be able to click on it and see here are the people who are available, right? That kind of thing. So, okay. Login. Yes, gotta log in, of course. There. And I need to put something on the front page here, right? This looks kind of lame with nothing here, you know? Like, something, right? Need something on the front page, right? Regardless of login, it looks really empty. Can we do something about that? Right? You know what I mean? I'm going to make this an enhancement, a good first issue, and if somebody wants to take a shot at that, you are more than welcome to. And I'm going to put it on our initial schedule availability project. Okay. And I should be able to jump back to, there it is. All right. So there's the application. I can click into availability and whabam, there's my availability schedule, and I can page back here, and it's not, oh no, I cleared out the database. That's what it was. So you can see where today is, and we can move from there. A dashboard says SemSem 9000. That's not a bad idea. SemSem? That's not a bad idea at all. I'm not sure what I would put on a dashboard, though. Maybe a list of here's the classes today when we get to class schedules, but that's not a bad idea. Just, we need something, right? The Michael Jolly says, the level of details looks like my GitHub issues. Quote, need something on the front page. I agree. That's Michael Jolly. He's another one of our live coders. Thanks so much for joining us. How's it going? Do you have a stream later today? Thank you for the follow. Just ask Jaina. Welcome. Now, is that... well, it wasn't Jaina with an I, so I'm not sure if you're referencing Jaina Proudmoore. I wasn't sure. Thank you for the host, Alka. 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, so in about, what is that, 4 hours. Terrific. Crows asks, Jeff, what do you think about the HTTP client factory? What do you think is a good solution when calling an external API? Crow's API calls an external API, but needs to scale 500 to 10,000 users over a 5-minute period. Cache that thing. Cache that thing like it's nobody's business. So I like to use the repository pattern when I work with external APIs, whether it's an external web-based API with HTTP or it's a database API like we're going to be using here, where we're interacting with the database. We're using Entity Framework here, but by putting a facade in front of it, I don't care whether it's using HTTP or not, right? Or it's using ADO or Dapper or some other technology. I don't care. I don't even care if it moves into a queue, right? We're using then queue technologies. Thank you for the follow, The Gnaw Man. The Gnaw Man? All right, welcome. When this gets to double zeros at the end, 7,400, we're going to give away another sticker pack. I sent some out yesterday. Folks should be getting those later this week. Sent out 2 sets of stickers. Really looking forward to our friends getting those. Next week your daughter's interview, Emma, is it pronounced Vetikind? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And you're hyped for that. Very cool. You know what? It should time out that shout out. Anyways, a nice snapshot for a good landing page would be great. Yeah. What was I saying? I was talking about something. The HTTP client factory. So if you hide the implementation, then you can cache that HTTP client request, right? So if you just fetched something with the same parameters, cache it, put it in memory. Keep it there for 30 seconds, a minute, figure out what it makes sense for you. Put it in cache, put it in a local database, put it somewhere where you can reuse it instead of hitting that HTTP cache. Even then, that HTTP hit to the other systems, if they've got appropriate caching set up over there, you're going to get a appropriate not changed. What's the HTTP status code for not changed? You should see that trigger as well, and hopefully do something with that. But put a facade in front of it and do some local caching, so you don't even make that request and you just hit the in-memory request first. I think that'll help you. Several different levels of caching that you can put in there. 304, that's what it is. Thank you, Alka. I couldn't remember. 301 is moved and 302 is moved. 304 not modified. That's it. Thank you. There you go. Points to Alka. All right, there you go. Points. Yeah, these stream decks are running a little bit slow. I wonder if it's all the plugins I have installed. All right.
Bazinga.
No, not Bazinga. Okay. So I can schedule appointments here. Let me hit F12. I want to see the network, right? The network pass that's going to happen back and forth after I key in this appointment here, right? So let's name an appointment. Let's schedule something here for later today. You know what? I'm going to schedule it for next Sunday, the 25th, is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to schedule Michael Jolly's interview that he's going to be doing here. So the 25th, and you said it's about 2 p.m., so 2 p.m. Eastern. There we go. And it's going to go to about it's about an hour, let's say, right? Let's make it 2 hours. So there we go. And we'll call this interview with Emma. There we go. So now when I click this, it's going to try and save that and send it across the wire. And there it is, sending it across the wire. It's going to show me, come here you. There's, okay, so it did a fetch. What did it do? ID 1. Add. Whoa! Okay, here we go. Marcus Voice Programmer. Hello, hello. Look at that line of swords. Look at that line of swords. That's a big line of swords. As long as the external endpoint does apply throttling, you can load balance over multiple processes. Okay, there you go. So I clicked it a second time and it didn't do anything here. It didn't go across the wire the second time. So that tells me... What'd it do? It tried to do the put, but I don't see it on the network. Right? It's not here. You know? 0 of 2 requests. No, show me all the requests. Why am I not seeing it? Two requests. Where'd the other one go? At the end. Yeah, there it is, way out there. There it is. Alright. So, headers, preview, response, timing. Okay. So what did it send? Right? Ooh, look at that cookie. Refer, request payload. Here it is. Schedule items, 0. Schedule ID 1, status 1, interview with Emma, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, oh, look at that. It sent 2 of them. Why did it send 2? That one is right. I could see that one blowing up because it's got a null in there. That's wrong. But this one at 0, right? That looks legit. You know? But the second one doesn't. Of course it doesn't, because it's, right? Doesn't have a name. We're not doing the validation yet before we send. So I'm okay with the second one blowing up. Did the first one actually get loaded? Let's see. So I need, okay, so on our to-do list, we need to put some little bit of validation in there. So I just did the refresh. Let's, are you kidding? We should have seen it load. There it is. There's, right? Why didn't you show me that loading? Right, if I click over there... Okay, so it's not loading the data properly either. Now I feel really bad. Yeah, I spy a null indeed, BNAS. I do. Right, so it fetched it, but it didn't paint it over here. Right, and it's not painting it down here either. So I've got a couple of issues here that we need to go through. Right? So, save on schedule item, validate name is not null. Okay. I need to make sure that after save, clear the boxes, reset the entry fields. After save, reload the availability calendar thing. Right? Click on a date does not show the content for that date. Right? Let me see, if I open this, if I control R, it's going to reload, and I should see it fetch the data that's going to load up over there. There it is. Pending. Why is it pending? Do it. Okay, so it finished loading that, but it didn't paint it over here. 10/18/2019. I worry about that one. Okay, so the response, there it is. Interview with Emma, start date time on the 17th. Well, wait a sec. That's the wrong time. That's the wrong time. Well, wait, it put it for an entire day. Look at that. Why did it put it for a day? I didn't set it for a day. I set it for 2 hours. Save of schedule item does not appear to capture dates properly. That's weird, right? Let's see here. But what if requests are typically 500 different HTTP requests? Let's say fetching 500 different images from an external API. You can use typed HTTP client. Going back to Crow's question a little bit ago about caching and external endpoints. If it can handle the load, you can cache those images. There are ways to cache them. Emma has a lot to say. Good. Yep, resilient HTTP requests. You're going to use things like the Poly library to make it responsive. This worries me. This is easy for us to go into. So it looks like we're going to start working on save here to make sure that this is saving properly. All right, I'm going to just push that over here. Let's go over to our code. And the save operation is... Well, it's in this availability razor page. All right, what's happening that my machine's starting to, like, go really slow? I don't get it. What's it doing?
Do it live!
Okay, we'll do it live. So we're setting the availability, single event, recurring event. So here's the single event data entry bit right here. Which DB am I using? Right now I'm using SQLite. I was using Postgres, but the Postgres provider didn't keep up with the changes in the ASP.NET Core previews, so we had to step away from it. It looks like it's been updated. We'll figure it out. All right, so scheduling the one-time appointment. On-click, model, add new, schedule item. It looks like this isn't doing the right thing here. This one right here. That's not doing anything. Okay. Wasn't this changed? Shouldn't this now be... no, I need at on click there, don't I? Right, so that... I worry about that. I can't even go into model there. Are you kidding? Okay. There's the new schedule item, but it's the add new schedule item here, this method. And it was 142. And what day is today again? The 18th. There we go. All right. My schedule. So there is no validation check in here, right? So we got to do that, right? In new schedule item. Doesn't that have a validate method? There we go. I don't have a validation context, do I? What do I pass in for validation context? This one. Right, new schedule item, validate, foo, right? I don't know. I gotta pass something in here. That's not right. The PC needs coffee. Yeah, it does. I think you're right. So I need to figure out what should be passed in there. So that should help us. Will it help us? Well, that'll call through here, and we'll get these validations applied. So that's okay. Oh, that's better. formatting. So I should get the validations returning properly. Right, where'd it go? Not expand schedule. Add new schedule item. Here it is. This should be unit tested. You know? I was using Postgres at one point, but like I said, the NPG SQL driver was not updated, right? Let's go to NuGet NPG SQL. This one. Here we go. So look at that, it was just updated. We could try that now that it's been updated. Because it wasn't quite working with the current version that we're working with, the current version of ASP.NET Core. Let me go back to the project. So this needs to be executing properly. This, I don't like having HTTP client directly inside my application like that. So I feel like there's a refactoring that I could do there that I can do something with, right? The caret equals operator is XOR. I don't use it. I don't. Right? C# XOR operator. You know what? I gotta Google that with Bing. C# bitwise. No, give me the docs. And the exclusive or, you can just use caret. So caret equals, I think you can do that then. Yeah. So. Okay. But I gotta figure out how to do the validation context deal. I want to put this into a unit test and refactor out this chalupa right here. Chalupas. Tacos! So let's see, schedule state. That's going to be testing of the web client in this model. Where's this model at? There it is, in the view models. And really, I should push the view models out into another project that's .NET Standard. Oh wait, this is .NET Standard, isn't it? Yes, it is. Ha-ha! That's a thing. So everybody loves tacos. Yeah. Yep, it sets it to the result when you put it with the equal sign there. The bitwise operator. So I'm gonna add another project for testing the web client because I have a feeling that's gonna get a little messy. No, I don't buy my, no, too many highlights. No, I don't want VB. C#. Okay, I chose C#. Friends, I chose C# and I'm being presented with the VB class libraries. Can somebody clip that? Can somebody clip that we just selected C# and we're getting VB and F# in the box here? It is not enforcing the language filter. So I want no. See? Library ends when you do a search. Combined with the filter, it takes it off. Project types. Library. That's why I chose library there. What? And I want to be able to choose my framework. I want to be able to say .NET Standard. This one. That's the one I want. Okay. So let's call this test.txt Test.wasm, let's call it, because we're going to test that. Did Rambling Geek get it? I don't know. Bauxite says you got it. All right, terrific. Terrific. Go ahead and tweet that, and we'll retweet it. And pass that along to our friends at the Visual Studio team, because they like to get stuff like that from me. All right. I'm going to add some references here, just like I have. You know what? I can just do this, right? I don't want... well... Sure. I'll grab the exact same package references and drop them in here. I am an elite developer, so I edit my CS project files directly. Anybody can do this, really. Right? So, now it's going to resolve, and we'll have all those dependencies in here. I'm going to add some other dependencies to... I'm going to add it just to the web client project. There we go. Look at that. It was so easy.
The finger.
There we go. So now I'm going to come down to this one. Let's add a folder. So for testing view models. Oh gosh. Smab!
Smabook just resubscribed for
Smabook?
9 months. We C# squirrel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Smab. I appreciate that. And we'll make a donation to Coder Dojo. 9 months put you into the green hat badge. Nice. Welcome. Nidens asks, as a new developer, am I really going to see any differences between Visual Studio Community versus Visual Studio Enterprise? You can get it via your Azure for student subscription. You're not going to see too much of a difference, but with the Enterprise Edition, you'll be able to get into the Test Explorer and be able to run tests as you make changes. Live unit testing you'll be able to run, and that's really, really handy. Let me get rid of this default class here. View models, and I want to test the view model for which one it was? The availability page, right? Availability. And I've got to set up a given when then here type of structure. I don't know. Given an invalid schedule item, right? An invalid new schedule item, right? Yeah, there we go. So another folder here, when saving. Right, I think when saving should be my class though. Right? Let's make that the class. No. Alt-Shift-C will let me create a new class here. When saving. There we go. Make this public. Alright. We're gonna need a... we don't need a constructor. We need a test. This will be a fact. Right? Fact, control dot. There we go. When saving, should return appropriate validation messages. Right? Something like that. Eventually we'll turn this into a theory that looks at the messages and inspects and makes sure they lines up so it tests each one of the things. Do I ever do stuff with the testing frameworks? Hey, look what I'm doing right now. Complete Code Lens added to community. I can't remember, Brave Cobra. I agree. I think Code Lens is. How is Blazor? Asks, is that chronoluminaire? It's amazing. That's what it is. What is this? This is C#. This is Blazor. We're testing to make sure that our database interactions run properly, that our validations fire properly. And then we're going to fix up the way that it appears in our web application that we're building. Can you see some Blazor? Sure. Let me finish writing some tests here and you'll see some Blazor. It's running over here in the browser, right? This is, of course, Chromium. This is Edge with the Chromium rendering. I run the Canary builds, the nightly builds, because I like it that way. I live dangerously because everything's awesome. It's great. So this is all C# in the browser. You'll see it load up here. Right? Check it out. Right, there's the Mono framework loading, specially compiled against WebAssembly, and all these DLLs loading up appropriately. Because we're in dev mode. We haven't done any tree shaking or linking yet. So, okay. So, should return appropriate validation messages. So what we're going to do here, right, to figure this out, to make it run a little bit better. Does anyone have a link to a site that covers all of the XUnit syntax? It's available at the XUnit website, right? So if you right, XUnit docs, right? There you go, documentation. And there's all the documentation down there for it. So. Is that supposed to be... I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Is that Brab for everything? I don't know. I studied information systems at university. So I want to test this add new schedule item method here. Right? Which, in order for me to test this, it's going to hit right here and have a problem. Right? This is a instance method. So I'm going to need... Nope, that's my view model. I'm going to need to make sure that I create a new instance of this class, right? Which means... Where is it? Where's that constructor? I don't see it. The other question is, where is that being set? You know? Somewhere that HTTP client is being set, and I don't remember where it is. Do you remember where it is, chat room? Because it's a read-only HTTP client, which tells me it's being set in the constructor, and I can't find my constructor. There's this one. Oh, there it is, and it is being passed in. Ha-ha! Okay. But I sound like the penguin from the 60s Batman show. Dear Lord. The docs don't have the syntax. Bummer. Okay. You did some C and Rust in WASM. It didn't handle the rendering, but that looked rather slow to load. Do I have an example of what is compiled for release? Well, it's right there. It's DLLs. I don't understand what you're asking. Do I have an example of what's compiled for release? The project's compiled for release. The way that .NET runs with Blazor as WASM, it has a runtime, the mono runtime out there. So it's compiling and deploying things in DLLs like it would if it was another application. In the future, as this solidifies, the WASM version of Blazor, there's goals to do tree shaking and linking, so you end up with a very small DLL that is pushed to the browser. But you're pushing a DLL, you're compiling. So, all right. So I need to pass in an HTTP client. Well, I don't have an HTTP client because I'm running in a test. Right, tree shaking is not available as part of Blazor yet. It's something that will be added later. Okay. So what I want to do is I actually want to have a strongly typed HTTP client class. I want to turn this into a repository model so that I can put my HTTP client, a strongly typed client, inside of a class, have that facade in front of it so that I can pass that facade into my test appropriately and do something with that at some point. So, let's see here. So I need to extract an interface for how I'm interacting with the client, which also has the added benefit of when I'm doing add new schedule item here, all of, not this, but this, I can put over in that repository object and not think about it, right? All of these things to manage the state of that object is kind of annoying. It's something that I shouldn't be doing in this class where I'm managing my user interface. Push that somewhere else where it makes more sense to do that interaction. For right now, I could put that in my domain project, those interfaces. I think I will put it there. Yeah. Because interacting with HTTP client is very much, but put JSON. This is, it's a Blazor extension. Let me keep them in the same project for right now, before we decide to move them out to somewhere else. Yeah. I'm just going to create two classes over here. Let's create one file and make it interact appropriately. Let's call this schedule repository. Okay. So I have that, but I want an interface in front of it. Public interface schedule repository. This will implement that. Okay. And what I'll do then is I'll take these 4 lines, but I need to receive an HTTP client. And I need to pass in a schedule and a new schedule item. A schedule and a schedule item. Okay. So let's make this a task. Add new schedule item. And we're going to receive a schedule. Come here, you. Yep, put the using statement on there. We'll call it schedule. And we'll be receiving a schedule item. Sure, we'll call it schedule item. Okay, so we need to implement that method, which will be here. I'm going to make it an async task. Good. Yes, you don't like the naming of it because you think it should be I don't have an await. Oh, fine. But here, I'm going to create a constructor that receives an I. I'm blanking. I'm going to go to docs, microsoft.com, and a strongly typed HTTP client, right? Uh-oh. Did chat blink out on me? Did chat blink out? Let me know. Yeah, that looks like it's working. There's the tacos. Nope, just went quiet. Okay. Alright. I get worried when all of a sudden, when the chat's going and going and going, and all of a sudden, what happened? Shoot. Why am I blanking on how to wrap that HTTP client? That's 2017. No. Nah, dude. No. 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 I can't remember. A typed HTTP client. Right. I'm receiving HTTP client. Yep. This dot, I'll just put client equals HTTP client. Stash a copy of that. Well, it doesn't know what this is yet. Get the using statement. Get that, yeah, it's a read-only property. Sure. Because I don't care about that. I'm not actually testing this schedule repository. All right. So now, in order to make this work, I need to actually register, right? There's my authorization, scoped. Services, add. No. Thank you for the follow. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you joining us. Where's the startup? I'm looking for the startup where it configures the movie details client in this. Yeah. Add HTTP client. That's what I thought. Services, add HTTP client. Service repository. Do the thing like this. You know what that is. Come on now. Schedule repository. It's because I typed it. I typed the wrong thing. Now find that. There we go. But add HTTP client. Come on, you should be doing that thing. And now I feel bad. Right. Yeah, I agree. The XUnit docs leave a little bit, right? They're very tutorial focused. They don't show you necessarily how to use those things. No. What the heck? Startup, add HTTP client. Come on now. I need to install Microsoft Extensions HTTP package. I thought it was there. I mean, it must not be if it's not in the box. So, let's add the package. That's being suggested here. Manage NuGet packages. Microsoft Extensions HTTP. There it is. There we go. Please. Now I should, after this is installed. Come on. Let's go. Thank you. I'm getting impatient. Detected package downgrade. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Get back to me in a minute. Okay. Let's go into the source of this, because we're using this ASP.NET Core version variable here. And see, it's already referencing Blazor HTTP client. Change those over so it's using the ASP.NET Core version that we specify. Kind of force that on our projects. Come on, install the right one. You can see down here at the ready thing that it's doing something, right? Okay, maybe it's not. Output. Package restore failed. And now I feel shame. It should be 300 preview 8 194054. So I'll go back over to this one, put that back in there. And now it appeared. Now why am I getting the yellow triangle of paranoia? Looks like it's fine. So now if I go back over here, yeah, that works. Good. Okay. So now it's putting the HTTP client into this thing. So I can go back to my availability view model, and these I'm going to copy into here. If I put them into here, I don't want to put everything into here. I want to put these into here. So I want to say, right, schedule item dot status, schedule item schedule ID, schedule items add. Okay, so now it's going to put schedule ID, schedule. Now it doesn't know what that is. There we go. Now it does. All right. So what I should be able to do now is receive an iSchedule repository instead of an HTTP client. Here. Right? Wait a sec. I can generate this left-right code. Let's do this. Create an initialize field property. Sure, we'll do that one. Right, so now down here on add new schedule item, schedule repository, add new schedule item, my schedule, new schedule item. Right, and I can actually even await that. That feels good, okay. So I've refactored it because I want to make sure that this runs properly, and if the validate fails, it returns that message. Let me take a look back here at the chat room. Do I like XUnit better than MS tests? Anything is better than Microsoft Test. The Microsoft Test unit test framework is it's a little bit slower. XUnit was built with .NET Core, .NET Standard in mind, and was being managed open source, which MS Test was not. But XUnit was being managed open source in the community while .NET Core was being built. So the framework teams, the .NET teams, they attached to it. They went right with it. They had some folks, some friends that were managing the XUnit project that they could collaborate with to ensure they got the functionality they needed to test their fledgling .NET Core framework as it was being started almost 5 years ago now. So that's why I like XUnit, is because it's in lockstep with .NET Core. MS Test, not so much. Is there a big difference between ASP.NET and .NET Core? Asks Tajari. Bauxite's answering that question. Yes, both can be written in C# if you mean front-end rendering stuff. That's going to be a little bit more HTML-y. Well, darn skippy indeed, Copperbeardy. Good to see you. .NET Core and, well, .NET and ASP.NET, two different things. ASP.NET is the web framework that runs on top of .NET, okay? There are other frameworks you can run on top of .NET, Xamarin, if you want to build mobile applications. WinForms if you want to build Windows Forms applications, WPF if you want to build Windows Presentation Framework applications, UWP, the Universal Windows Platform, if you want to build applications using that UWP model that goes in the Windows Store. Those are options. Those are things you can do. You can build console apps as well with just straight .NET, okay? Now that works for both .NET and .NET Core. .NET was established and released back in 2002. Previews were available in 2001, but in 2002. And was made available to work on Windows and Windows only. You had one type of web project to build and SOAP services you could build, and Windows Forms applications. But for the longest time, it was Windows, Windows, Windows only, and it was very closed source. .NET Core is the new version of .NET, the new version of those frameworks. It's a complete fork, implements a lot of the same APIs, and now the user interface for WinForms. Thank you for the follow. Is that Hello World? Welcome. And it now has a new flavor of ASP.NET called ASP.NET Core that, just like the last versions of ASP.NET, supports MVC, but has now these other more HTML-friendly user interface frameworks that live on top of that will compile and build very browser-friendly things.
What's that?
Well, things like Blazor for WASM, WebAssembly, will compile and run in the browser.
What's that?
Well, there's also now WinForms and WPF that'll be released for .NET Core, so you can use .NET Core to build Windows applications using those frameworks with .NET Core 3 when it releases at the end of September. Navarro FTW asks, isn't UWP being retired? I can't speak for the Windows team. I am a member of the .NET and Visual Studio teams. There's definitely a lot of investment right now in WinForms and there's a lot of investment in WinForms and WPF to make sure that there's a great experience for that with the new version of Visual Studio that's coming out. It's a patch version coming out in September. And with .NET Core 3, you're going to get an amazing experience when it's finished being polished, and that LTS, that long-term servicing release of .NET Core, comes out in November, probably at Ignite. Not sure if there's an ASP.NET standard like there's a .NET standard. No, there is no such thing as ASP.NET standard. .NET standard is a thing. .NET standard is a set of APIs that are declared that .NET frameworks must implement, because there's many .NET frameworks now. There's .NET Core, there's .NET Framework, there's Xamarin, and there's implementations of .NET Core for Tizen and for other runtimes, other locations that you may want to run your .NET applications. So, lots of different choices, and it's all about finding the right pieces to put together to make the right application for your environment, your runtime, your user interface, your operating system, your hardware. So, lots of choices, right? There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to software development. So, and I agree, Brave Cobra, UWP is not really taking off, no. The Windows team did many things to cripple innovation by hobbyists on their platform. That makes me sad. They made it very, very difficult. If you want to build an open source application, you want to be able to publish that, allow folks to share it. Everybody's going to get a warning that installs that unless you buy a certificate. Well, do you really want to buy a certificate? And then pay more to put it into the store? No. Why? Just let me run my application. So, thank you for the follow. Is that Nikek? Welcome. It is like iOS development. However, iOS development has a huge upside on the store because it's been proven that people love spending $1 on something from the store. With Windows, not so much. The certificates are a deterrent against malicious publishers. Yeah, but as the iOS store has proven, so what? Malicious publishers still publish things. On the flip side, the Google Play Store, there is no certificate. It's the Wild West. And it's pretty scary out there. So, okay, we're going to try and do this validate data here. This we're going to try and get into. I think I also broke another place where HTTP client is being referenced because I deleted it. Right, let's get back into the project here.
Squirrel.
There it is. So this with the validate method, right? I can get rid of that comment because I'm doing it now. I'm doing it right there. But I want to test add new schedule item, make sure that that's doing its thing properly here. So when saving, well, right, I need to arrange, act, assert, right? So I need to set up a new availability view model. So this is my system under test equals new availability view model. Good, right? And it automatically added my using statement there appropriately for that. I can't just create a new availability view model. I need to actually pass something into it. So let's create a state object, which is the, what is it? Schedule state. New schedule state. There we go. Right? And did you notice it also found and set the using appropriately for me there? Now I need to schedule a repository. Here's where I'm going to need that mock framework. Let's create a constructor. I'll use the CTOR constructor snippet. So I get a little constructor here. This will fire before every one of my tests. So I need to create a schedule repository. So we'll create a schedule repository. I use the underscore because this is going to be a field that I don't want exposed to the outside. So I use the underscore notation here to hint that this is a field that shouldn't be shared. So I want to say, I should be able to say new mock, new dynamic mock. Do I not have the mock framework? I don't have the mock framework installed here, do I? Do I? No. Right? Let's add the mock framework. Manage NuGet packages. Browse. MOQ. Gimme. This is a great framework that allows you to mock objects. By mock, I mean it's going to mock me with lots of error messages. Try that again. Yeah, I know. I know these things don't exist. I'm working on it. Really? Really? I need to be able to compile in order to add something here? Really? Like 4112.0. Don't mess with me, NuGet. Do not mess with me. Because you mess with the bull, you're going to get the horns. Know what I'm saying? I'll reference that package if I want to. Huh. Right? It's fun doing unstable work, isn't it? Well, I don't think this is a question of the unstable. I think the tool is trying to be overprotective of me while I'm in the middle of writing some code here, right? So now I should get a new dynamic mock. I want to specify iSchedule repository, right? I think that's the syntax for mock, right? No. What is it? It's MOQ, right? I thought it was like, let's just say mock. Right? That's a thing, isn't it? There we go. So now I'll be able to set up, yep, generate that field. Good. I'm even going to make it read-only. All right. By making this field, making this read-only means that it can only be changed. It can only be set. It can be changed, but a value can only be set to this in my constructor method here. This way it prevents it from being overwritten elsewhere in the application, in the class. It protects it a little bit there. Haxie sure loves NuGet. Kappa. Ah, come on now. It's trying to be protective for you. You right-click the packages node there as well, expecting to install NuGet packages one node higher. Yeah, I agree. It would be nice if it was there in addition to there, right? Like, add package would be really nice there. And, you know, just pop open a text box. Let me type the name. I know the name. Just find it and do it. Do the thing. Ooh, CJ Aliaga going to the beach. Take care. Have a good one. What kind of web server am I using? Asks Reno Live. I'm trying to decide if I want to use Nginx for an at-home to learn. So ASP.NET Core by default uses the Kestrel web server. When I deploy, I'll probably be running with Nginx on a Linux box. Either Nginx or maybe I'll just run directly with Kestrel. I don't know. Haven't figured it out yet what'll be there. NuGet management in Rider is super awesome, says PT Muta. A little hint. Thank you for the follow. Anakim Luke. Nice. Little hint. The folks working on Rider have some of the former NuGet team members working for them. So there's a number of things that we were not thrilled about as NuGet team members that they've implemented, and I'm not surprised. So, there's... Visual Studio is a massive, massive application. Hundreds of people work on this application. So things get lost in the shuffle because of dependencies and promotion of features. So little things that help with usability sometimes fall by the wayside because there are bigger rocks to move, bigger things that need to be implemented. It's not an excuse, but that's the truth of how they operate on the Visual Studio team. You're using Nginx as a web reverse proxy for all your web-based GUIs. Nice. All right, so now I've got my schedule repository. I can also set up the behavior for the schedule repository, right? I can set up, right, that I expect the repository to be called with add new schedule item with some sort of a schedule and some new schedule item. Well, I need to define what that new schedule item is and what makes it so in need of being updated. I also need to set that on my schedule here. I need to set the schedule ID, right? Let's just set it to 1 so it's something. I also need to make sure that schedule is something. It should be something. Yeah, I need to actually assign a schedule here. Right? Let's get rid of all that nonsense. I don't need it. I want this to be readable. So I'm going to add new schedule item. I need to define what that new schedule item is that I'm going to be receiving, that I expect to receive. Actually, I don't even expect to hit this. Do I? Do I? Am I expecting to hit that? I don't want to call this. Aha. In which case, I do need the schedule state. I don't need these. Thinking out loud here, friends. Thinking. So I can say it is any, right? And this is going to be, well, it should be any schedule. It is any, right? This is how you can filter on these things to make sure, did it actually call this with an appropriate object? But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, can I do that? Oh, no! Setup, is there setup async? How do I do this with the async method? Crap. Yep, Coding Trains is a nice, nice set of videos, nice YouTube channel that's going on out there. But the problem with all YouTube videos is you can't interact and ask questions while they're going along here. Shoot, how do we do this? Physitronic asks about why use an interface. Let me get back to that in just a second. I can do returns async. No. Setup dot. Yeah, I'm on setup. Right? If I do that, is it... No, I can't... How do I do returns? There's... No... Yeah, it's not there. No. Returns async. Hey, JD Hirsch, good to see you. Right, this... Yeah, setup. Right, is any, that's on that, that ends that. Dot returns async, I can't do it. Returns async isn't showing up. You can use it with lambdas, blah, blah, blah. So setup dot returns async. Yeah, returns async isn't popping up for me. Right, this isn't a thing. One more paren? Nah. Ah, you're right. So returns async isn't in that box either. Right? Am I missing something? Nope. Oh my gosh. A bunch of comments here. I want to make sure, I want to pin Physitronics question here just a second after I figure out how to get this. What about making it task from result? Setup returns a task. Yeah. I don't... I want to say called 0 times, right? Right, if I had another mock object, I could say called 0 times. Mock setup called 0 times. Right, I want to make sure that it's not being called. Tried to get the attention. Yes, Copperbeardy. Async void the method. You're suggesting go async task on this, right? I need to make sure I get the task framework in here. No, returns async isn't in there. No. Nope. And I'm not even concerned about the returns, right? I want to say, right, the number of times that it's called. Add new schedule item is a task. So, right? That feels really weird. Yeah, it's not async because it's on an interface, right? So, and there is no setup async here. right? And returns async. There's throws async. Right, I don't want to return because I don't want it to hit this. I want to set up that expectation and say 0 times it was called. Right? Verify times exactly. So do I do it like this? Now why am I losing? Times never. Should not have attempted to save the schedule. Right? Do something like that. Right? I think that's what I want. I don't need the async task here then. So now I have a system under test, right? That is a new availability view model, and I'm going to pass in the state and my schedule repository object. I'm going to act and say add new schedule item, which is awaitable. Yeah, I should do then. Like that. And where do I put the verify at the end? Yeah, I think I put that at the end. Right? Like that. Could be enough. The verify is the assert. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, CJ. CJ Harbich. Do I have the right version of mock? I need to update to version 4.2. Well, that's 4.12. So I think we're there. So this is now, right, it should test, run my tests. Come on, run the tests. I'm going to need to make sure that validate does something, right? Because I want it to stop. I want it to not hit this, and I want to be able to inspect that validation, I think. Well, the setup is being done right there. Build failed. In both of these. Where'd it go? Isn't that the same version? Alright, so that's scheduling this one. Right? It's like there's two different sets of these numbers that we need to make sure are running properly. Alright, rebuild that one. Oh, good. Some folks helping out Physitronic here. Unexpected error detected. Really? Package. What? You're kidding. XUnit runner Visual Studio was restored using... You're kidding. It's just fine right there. This is Netcore App 3. Am I gonna run into this issue? Is that gonna work? I think it worked. I think it worked. Let's see what happens here. I see your question, Simon. Let me come with that in just a second. Here we go. Come on. Come on now. Don't blow up on me now. Yes, it built. All right. Now.
What's that?
Simon asks, did you end up needing to switch the base on the view model so they were components? I was not able to proceed with that ticket due to errors running the app, which I then fixed when I updated to preview 8. There is a runnable cut on the main repo right now. This, okay, so that's running. I did not have to change it. It's still working, and I'm writing a test for the availability view model right now. So I should be able to come to this project and say, run those tests. So this should fail. There it is, failing. And it should fail with... It should... I clicked you. Yes, show me the message. Show me the message. Show me the message. Thank you. Good. I hit... It did try to call that add new schedule item and blowed up. So... I can go back over to availability view model and I can try and have this thing... Now, it's passing validation, well, a collection of validation results. So let's call these results. If results dot... No. Why didn't it? That's better. I want to stop at this point. Right? If there are any issues, if there was any validation that happened, I want to break. Return task dot completed task. That's probably not what I want to return, right? I can just return actually, can't I? But I would want to return some sort of a message that says, "Oh, it was unsuccessful," right? I could throw an exception and handle that. Let's just make sure that runs properly, and we'll figure out about putting in an exception and handling it. Just a viewer. Interfaces solves the diamond problem from other languages because C# doesn't allow multiple inheritance. Yes.
Gareth Hubble just resubscribed for 14 months. Hi all, just here while I retrobrite an old Amiga.
Nice! Welcome back, Gareth. Thank you so much. 14 months! Holy crow! Woo! Thank you very much for that. And for that very kind resub, and we'll make a donation to Coder Dojo. Thanks so much. Alright. So, IOC, let me talk about, I can talk briefly about inversion of control, what's happening there. The architecture pattern that I'm using here. See, this is availability view model. This class, let me collapse up everything here. And I'll get rid of that because I don't have it. And this isn't being used. That just broke something. That's okay, we'll fix it. So this class, right, has all these fields and things that you can access. But the other classes that it depends on in order to do its work are these two objects, schedule state and a schedule repository. So in order for availability view model to do its tasks, its work that it's been designed to do, it needs these things. These are all properties. These are all things that it's interacting with. But this is what it's actually going to reach out and do something outside of it, right? It's acting with and on these things, right? It's composed of these two other objects. Well, we're going to receive those objects and we're going to stash them away so that when we call methods elsewhere in this class, we have them available to us. These are called dependencies, right? In order for the view model class, my availability view model class, to do its work, it depends on a schedule state and a schedule repository. So we're passing those in our only constructor. Well, if our only constructor requires those dependencies to be passed in, we're going to inject those dependencies while we're sending them in, while we're creating this class. So that's dependency injection. And because they're coming in from the outside, we've inverted control. Okay? We're passing that control on to some other thing that's going to decide how to create that, right? We've inverted control. We're passing on the responsibility for creating these things to something else. That something else, in ASP.NET's case, is this services object. It's a service collection. There's a lot of different these IOC containers, inversion of control containers. They're little classes. They're objects that you can use inside your application. It doesn't have to be ASP.NET. It might be WPF. It might be Xamarin. Whatever. That will decide how to create objects for you. And you can link it up and it'll decide the best way to create those objects, maintain the life cycle of those objects, like our HTTP client. HTTP client has an interesting life cycle. I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's a lot of concerns around how you manage the life cycle because of network usage and network allocation. So you set up the container in ASP.NET with these services statements. You make these things available. You teach it what it can inject with these statements in configure services. Then later, when these other objects are created and you have these dependencies that you declare in your constructor, ASP.NET will appropriately reach into that services collection, find the type that you've declared that it should use, and pass it in at construction time. So that's what IOC is. And just a viewer, that's a great way to describe it. Now, by using an interface as the requirement here, it decouples the code. So my iSchedule repository, this is an interface that doesn't have any code behind it. I can put this somewhere else and hide it. And my schedule repository that does implement that interface, this is the real one that'll be used when we actually run the code. This will be passed in when the real application runs so that it adds the new schedule item appropriately. But this also means because it's an interface for iSchedule repository, I can pass in other things that look like this, right? Because it's an interface, it's a contract. So that's what my unit test is doing here is it's saying right here, create something, some fake object that looks like and mocks that interface. And we'll call it schedule repository with an underscore in front. That thing, pass that thing into our availability view model. It looks like a nice schedule repository. Do whatever the tasks are. And then we're going to, we're going to inspect that thing and make sure it did what we were supposed to. So we can verify exactly what happens. Hey, Lily Hazel, good to see you. So that's a little bit about what that does. I hope that explains it a little for you, Physitronic. It's a pattern that works very nicely for large applications. It does add a little bit of overhead to have these other objects and to get this freedom and the ability to do testing like this. When you're working with a smaller, very compact project, things like a Xamarin application, maybe for a watch or for a phone, you might not want to go to this level of class architecture because it does create some overhead that you don't want on the mobile device. You're welcome, Physitronic. I'm glad I could explain that a little bit. There's a good book from Simon. There you go, from Manning about dependency injection in .NET. Yes. Couldn't the schedule state change state after construction? It could. Not worried about that for right now. So, design patterns are things that are very helpful to learn. That's something that folks should learn when they're taking classes to get started with software development. I've learned them along the way here on my own because I don't have a computer science degree. I actually have a management sciences and information systems degree. So I'm very much a self-taught developer. Okay, so that's properly now having validation state errors that I can go into here and say, oh yeah, there's a problem. But I want to make sure that it returns that validation state appropriately out to the controls so that we can interact with it and be, hey, this doesn't work correctly. Copperbeardy says, most interfaces I extract from the class and rarely do anything with the interface after that. Yeah, that's a typical thing. I definitely see that. What we could end up going to, for some of our friends that enjoy DDD, updating the schedule here, this could be something that in the future turns into a queued operation. Don't just put it into this HTTP endpoint, but put it on a queue where it'll be processed and handled by a service worker somewhere else. Maybe an Azure function or something. So. What was that? Look at AutoFixture for creating system under test. It's IOC for unit test and a huge help. I've had AutoFixture suggested in the past. I find that it hides the intent of a lot of these things, and it made it difficult for folks to follow along and continue to use AutoFixture. I've heard that about it, but it kind of hides the intent for some of these things, and I would like our tests to be very self-documenting of what's going on in there, so that other folks that want to participate in the open source project can find and learn easily what's going on. Gareth says, my take on design patterns is that learning them is good, not to stick rigidly to them, but to know how to describe the pattern when you see it, and know the pitfalls also. Very good point. Design patterns, well, I think Spider-Man put it best. With great design patterns comes great responsibility, or something like that. The Spider-Man of developers, I guess. You don't have to go overboard with design patterns. There's places where it makes sense to use them. There's places where it doesn't. You can over-design pattern a project. Ah, thanks for the link, Copperbeardy. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. So that validation, right? I still don't know, right? Where'd that validation go? Add new. This one I'm going to have to fix also. But now I can do the validation. Where'd it go? Add schedule item. There it is. Right. These things aren't going to do anything, and that's okay. Right? Reset schedule item. That's something I'm going to want to test also, that it's properly clearing this out. Because I don't think it is. No, it is. It is. But I also want to make sure that when it tries to do this add new schedule item, that the new schedule item it's posting is correct, right? If we go back to the problems that save of schedule item does not appear to capture dates properly. That's a problem. This one, validate name is not null. Well, we're doing the validation, but I need to know how to return that validation error to the page, right? Because the way this is working right now, I don't think that's going to get pushed back to the page, right? Validation with validation context. How do I pass that validation context back?
What's that?
Why did it come here? You have the context of what I'm looking for. Really? Really? Come on now, Visual Studio documentation. You're better than that. Yes, fluent validation is inside that object. Right, if we take a look at this, which is a schedule item, right? So we're getting new validation results being brought back here in a list of validation results. So, right, I want to put that on the screen. Oh my gosh, Renew Live says, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Let me know if I'm not. You've learned more about programming today than the past 3 years of college. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Tell your friends. We want to push this follower number up. Let's, better to delegate to a validator. Ah, live like Elizabeth. Okay. Renew, is it renew live? Let me know. Okay. Okay. There. Fantastic. So I've got this list of validation results, but I want to pass that into right. I want to return that maybe from add new schedule item here. So maybe it's a task of an enumerable of now of right validation results, right, something like that, right? So yep, using the system collections generic. So now instead of just return here, I could return results. So now it's returned that collection. This one's going to say, yep. New validation results. Right. There we go. So I'm returning an empty array. That'll work. Then you can use test the validator and have the VM use what? Well, okay, the validator's right. I have this validation method right here. Right? That should work. I should be able to validate against that. I'm pushing this back right into what's calling add new schedule item. Right, so now add new schedule item is here, and I want to be able to take those validation results and put them on a thing somewhere. I don't know where to put that so that it shows up on the screen, right? So that I have validation results. Java, XSLT, and Perl in school. XSLT was a great technology for formatting XML documents. Loved it. Made a lot of money over several years doing it. Doing a lot of it. And PT Muda makes a very good point here. How harsh is it for students to enter the workforce and get bombed with a ton of practical tools they have no clue about? This is the challenge that schools have, that colleges, universities have, keeping their content up to date is very hard to do when the technical ecosystem is evolving so quickly. If colleges were implementing and following and chasing JavaScript with how fast that ecosystem moves, I mean, in 6 months, everything that you were doing about React is gone. Angular 6 gone. Now you're on to Vue. Angular 8 is back. WebAssembly, right? What the heck? What do you do? Which one do you commit to for the long term? You got to do more outside of school, and you got to keep up. You got to always be learning, focusing on principles, not specific technologies. Start with that technology as an example, and focus on it as an example. And I would stick with something that's a longer term, something that's been around for a long time, but use that as a teaching tool. Great, you're going to become good with Java or C# or, you might be able to learn JavaScript. It has been around for a while. But don't get married into a framework. Get those basics, those principles down, and be able to apply those as you go forward. Good schools do just that. I completely agree. Yes. So I want to get my validation messages coming back here into this. I'm not quite sure where to put that. Right? But I'm not clearing everything out. I mean, I could have a validation object here that I'm referencing and building out. But I'm not there yet. This is properly now stopping and not clearing it if it's not a valid schedule item. Good. So that should save my validation issue. Save does not appear to capture dates properly. Let's go after that one. So this is given an invalid schedule item. Well, I want to write another one that is a valid schedule item. We'll do some more testing on some other things over there. I'm going to add a new folder over here. And we'll call this given a valid new schedule item. Right? And I still have this a little bit broken because HTTP client doesn't exist anymore over here. Hey, is that Mahaim? Welcome. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sometimes I have problems with some folks' names, so I want to respect you and make sure I pronounce all of our handles properly in the chat room. Once you know something like C#, then Java, C++, Rust, and other languages becomes easier. Very good point there, Gareth. Is there not a Blazor component for validation? There is. There is, right? Right. So validation message, right? Now, I don't know how to use it. So we'll figure that out in a little bit. Let me get the data processing working properly. But Marcus Voice Programmer, you're absolutely right. There is a component for this. I don't know how to use it yet. That's part of what we're doing here is learning a little bit about how to use Blazor. And you're learning with me, hopefully. Or you're helping teach me. We're pair programming. Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. Yeah. So we're going to figure it out together and put better validation in here. And then hopefully we'll make it better. We'll make it more impressive, easier for folks to use. Okay. So this is, right, when I have a valid new schedule item, it's doing the thing properly. So also, when saving, we're going to do another interaction here, right? This time, I'm going to set up with the exact same setup that we had up here, but different, right? I guess. Thank you for the follow. Who's our new, Clerpy? Okay, welcome. Get my using statements in here. That one and this one. Thank you for the follow. I'm not going to pronounce that one. Welcome. All right, so I'm going to set up another test here. This time I want to test that the dates are still the same at save time. So I'm going to intercept on my schedule repository, right? Remember I tried to mock this out? Oh, what do you see we do this time? So given a valid new schedule item, when saving, should pass dates properly. And I'm going to specifically inspect those dates. This is a fact that we're going to be applying here. This is an XUnit fact. This way our unit test framework with this attribute here knows this method is a test. You're going to execute this as a test, and if you have an error, well, that's a failed test. And we can use that then to verify that we didn't break our application going forward. Should pass dates properly. I'm going to grab the same setup that I had over here. I'm going to do almost the same deal here. All right. So I have a schedule state. We're going to have a new availability view model. Let me get my using statement for that. Thanks so much. We're going to add a new schedule item. Hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, use the Discord. Because I don't care. But I still need this to be async. Come on, Jeff. Right? Need to get that. I need my threading. Good. Okay. Fine. Yes. Thank you for the follow. Is that cause? Let me know. Gareth says, one thing I struggle with using test-driven development. What's the first test to write in a new project, and how strict would you be in production code? Yeah, that's a very good point. Very, very good point. All right, so my new schedule item that we're going to be passing in here, we need to define what that new schedule item is. So inside my availability view model here, I'm going to have a new schedule item. Right. So the new schedule item object here is a new schedule item. We're gonna start. We're gonna set set the values on it the same way that they're set in my availability page, which is new schedule item, start date time, end date time. We're binding to those values, and we should get right. Start date time. And I'm going to use the example we were talking about just a few minutes ago with our friend Michael Jolly. Next week, so that's 2019 08. Right, next week's the 25th, and he's at 2 p.m. So that is 14:00. Is when his stream, when he's going to be conducting an interview. We'll have a new date time, 2019 8/25, and he's going to run for 2 hours, so that'll go to 16:00. There we go. Right, and our new schedule item needs a name. New schedule item name equals interview with Emma. There we go. And that's kind of what we tried to key in and get working here. The schedule ID was specified somewhere, wasn't it? Wasn't it? The schedule ID in here somewhere? My schedule. There we go. Right, so state dot wait a sec. My schedule. Where's that coming from? That is okay. So if I say, oh boy, my schedule, where does that come from? Right, I'm on availability view model. Right? Oh, it's a private object there. Ooh. Where's that being set? My schedule comes from get my availability. Okay. So that's being loaded up somewhere else. Can I do that? Can I do that? That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Don't do that, Jeff. Bad. No good. Bad. I'd do better with that. And actually my schedule isn't a thing yet. Okay, that should do. So now, right, add new schedule item. I want to see if it I actually want to inspect this. Right, I actually want to make sure. Yeah, equal. Actually, isn't it like empty? Right, that should be empty. There should be nothing in there because it's a valid schedule item. There's a little bit of discussion between the chat room, and that's okay. That's just fine going on there. So here, the schedule item. I want to inspect the schedule item. Times once. Did not load the schedule item properly. Okay. Right. So I want to be able to inspect that schedule item. So what I can do, here it is. It is, now I have a func that I can pass in. Right, I'm going to inspect. This is a schedule item. Oh yeah. ladies and gentlemen, this is where it's going to get a little hairy. Because this is what I'm actually inspecting right here. Right? Yeah. Yes. Alright, so our item that we're inspecting, we're going to return... We should have... I think we want to put these into a... no. I want to put this into a constant somewhere, right? Let's call this start date. Right, so now that's a thing. We'll grab this one also. So I'd love if I could say, there we go, introduce a local for that, yes. And I'll call this end date. Cool, and I'm gonna move it up here. Okay, that way my arranged stuff is all right next to each other. Makes it easier for me to read and see the state of this. So now I can go look at this and I can say I dot, right? So I'm looking at that schedule item. I want to make sure that the start date time equals start date. Yep. And I dot end date time equals end date. So now I'm verifying that it did send into the schedule repository properly all the dates and it didn't muck with it. On line 30, Gareth says I have a superfluous semicolon. Oh yeah, look, there's an extra one up there. Thank you. Good call. All right, so now I should be able to run this test. This is Code Lens, this line you see right here. This is a Visual Studio feature. You also have it in Visual Studio Code. I can click this deal here, and it'll show me information about whether or not the test has been run. Or, actually, I can actually run it right now.
And then?
We'll figure out if I didn't break anything.
And then?
We'll get a little further here. Build errors. Well, that's a problem. Here we go. This was one of the ones I was saying, well, we're going to have a problem because I removed HTTP client. There it is. So we're going to turn that into a thing. Let's grab that. Let's turn this into... Nope. Fetch time slots. I'm gonna have to turn that into something. I'm gonna generate that method. Go back over here. There we go. So now I've got a signature for fetch time slots. I need to implement that. So I'll implement that extra bit of interface right here, which does this. Okay, which means this needs to be an async task of type time slots. Okay, so now this is returning those. Okay, now I need to pass in some variables because it doesn't know what my schedule state is. My schedule state was a schedule state. Actually, I just need the ID off of it, don't I? So I can take this, turn it like that. These dates I should probably do something with. I'm not going to do it just yet. Don't need to. But this is now my return type for this instead of an object. So now I go back over here and that works. Right? Async tasks, which means this can be awaited and everything works. Ha-ha! Look at that! Alright. I think there was another error in here. Got that one. Availability view model does not contain a definition for HTTP client. What do you think of that? What do you think for that? Time to get a swim before bed. Have a good one, Bauxite. Have I tried supercharger.tools? No. And no offense, I'm not going to open that on stream. If Fluent Assertions is in the app, we can make line 42 a little bit easier to read. Let me close this one. That, I'm okay with that. Here we are. Here's our next one. Add new recurring schedule. So this is adding the new recurring schedule right here. doing the exact same thing that we had before over in add new schedule item. So I need to refactor this one as well. So I'm going to be receiving a recurring schedule and a schedule to load. Okay. So I will go back to this. I'm actually going to copy this. Add new recurring schedule. Recurring schedule. There we go. What should we call it? Sure. Okay, so now I need to implement that down here. Implement it. And there's that. We can make this an async task. That's fine. That's fine. I thought. Okay, that's fine. And I'm going to copy over those into this one, just like we did before. Some quick refactoring. So everywhere that it was, that is just recurring schedule. I should have. Hang on. Let me show you this. Watch this. And I'll replace them both at the same time with one R. Do it there also. Okay. This and no. Where is it? This and nope. Ah, shoot. What's the multiple cursor? I thought it was Alt. Right? Nope, won't do it. It's not Alt Shift. Is it Alt Control? Yeah, Alt Control. There we go. And this one. And this one. Replace them all at the same time. Holding down Alt and Control and just highlighting. There we go. That's not a this. Goodbye. Cool. Fixed. So now I can come back over here and I can say schedule repository, add new recurring schedule, and it's going to be this dot, and recurring schedule will be new recurring schedule. And I can throw in a wait on that. What I should do is, of course, new recurring schedule validates. I don't know what the context is. And I can do the exact same thing here. Var results. I don't know what the type is, and I don't care what the type is. Return results, and I'm going to want this same validation result here. Okay, so now I'm doing the exact same thing for add new recurring schedule. Now, why don't you like that? Ah, I need the final return. The final return. Coming up. There we go. Plan before you code, good habit. Absolutely. Alright. Let's see here. Okay. So I think I have that fixed. I should be able to go back over to my test here. Let's see if this builds. And nope. I have one more place with the HTTP client lingering. Where? Right there. Get my availability. Thank you for the follow the tutorial, Chef. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us. Look forward to seeing you in the chat room. So this gets a schedule. Well, that's easy to do. Right? And actually, this is only called once. Right? This I could turn into yeah. Look. I'm gonna get rid of this line of code. Get rid of that. I'm sad I'm not seeing the entry over there. There it is. Thank you for the follow, Ready Up Robot. Great to meet you. So let's now call this schedule repository get availability. And we'll figure out what to put in there. I will generate that method on the interface. So it knows what this is. Good. I'll need to implement that. Here it comes. Where is it? Down there. Right? I will make this async. This should be async also. And I'll replace that with this return await blah 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 blah. But the schedule ID, we're gonna pass that in. Right? Love the refactoring here. This is really good stuff. Make sure that the interface matches the implementation. So now I've got that. Fetch time slots. Why don't you like that? Oh, fine. I thought oh, because it's... I didn't finish that yet. Why didn't I finish fetch time slots? That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a real problem. Yeah. Ooh. We're going to need to run a blame on that one. Make sure we go find the original text there. That's a problem. Can I not make HTTP client into a private read-only field here? Well, it's a public read-only, but sure, it can be private. Sure. Nobody's using it. That's fine. So this needs to pass in my schedule ID. There we go. Now I've got that. And I'm going to need to go back and figure out where I dropped fetch time slots here under expand schedule. Because it's not... Right, it's not... I dropped the signature for that somewhere. Oops. Oops.
A nutless monkey could do your job.
Len! Easy, buddy. Len Grossman, our producer. So I'm going to go back over here and look at our code. Go into the sort. I'm on master. I don't want to be on master. No. I want to change. Is there a way to just change branch here? No. Okay, fine. I'm going over to dev. There's Octotree. On dev, I'm going to reach down into web client. I'm going to go to view models, availability view model. Here it is, right here. I thought I copied that in somewhere. Right? Because fetch time slots is right there. Don't need that other one. I do need the schedule ID. Ah, that's what's happening. I added the parameter and didn't add the... There we go. All right. So now that works. All of these... if I check my test now, make sure that builds. On the schedule... oh, good. We already hit that. Simon, thank you. Oh, there's no argument that corresponds to the required formal parameter. No. Okay, well, that's easy. My schedule ID. Build that. Hooah! Come on. Come on now. Hey, Veronica! Project finally going live on Tuesday. Is that a release? Is that an RTM? Let us know. That's exciting. All right, so now I'm going to try and make sure that it's passing dates properly. I'm going to click the button here and click run. That's coming out of Code Lens here in Visual Studio 2019. Come on, go, go, do it. All right, I got a red X, unexpected error detected. Check out the test output pane. Red alert. You screwed it up, Jeff. You screwed it up. Assert empty failure. Status is required. Okay. I thought I was doing that. Right, add new schedule item. Oh, it's doing the validate before. before it checks that. That's fine, I'll move that out. Don't really want it there anyway. Add new schedule item. Try that test one more time. Ruined, says Threnan. I know. Did it work that time? So we see the little status bar going by. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so it passed the right information. So now the question is, when it's submitted and got over to the place, you know, the web server, did it save properly over there? That we can test. That we can actually debug and step into. So not all is lost. I feel really good about all these other unit tests that we have here and that we built. I'm going to run test and let that kick through while we're looking at this. I'm going to go over here and navigate to the web project, right? It's the schedule controllers where it's doing the update, where it's putting it in there. Let's see here. Right here is where it's trying to save it. Right? We're trying to get our update right here. Right here on this very show. So if I debug on the server, we should be able to run through the same steps and see exactly what the schedule is that it's trying to update here, because we might not be receiving the data properly as it's being passed into us here. It's only going to be live until April of next year when new warehousing system goes in, but at least your part is done. Well, congratulations, Veronica. Good luck to you with that. That's terrific. Always happy to hear our friends are getting their projects off the ground and released to manufacturing. That is tremendous. Well done, you know? Best of luck to you with your release on Tuesday, and you make that project live. Always an exciting time. Always. Let's see. What do we got here? No. Good. All right. Stuff's happening. Got to keep an eye on things. So let's run this. I'm going to run it this time with the debugger attached. And let's see what comes through. And I still need to wire up validation at some point. Like, so you can actually see the validation results in the Blazor user interface, which shouldn't be too hard to do. I'm just not familiar with the APIs. Right? That's a thing. Loading. Come on. Where is it? There we go. All right. And cool. Availability. All right. So now, hey, there we go. Look, it's still there. All right, and that is this day, and right, it was 1400. Good. There it is in the box. This one here, and we're gonna say it ends at 1600. There we go. It's all there. Add new schedule item. Did it go somewhere? I hope it went somewhere. Okay. Refresh. Let's try this again so we can see what's going on here. Are those some not Metro counter controls? That's straight HTML. That's what Edge is presenting for the calendar control. Alright, I'm going to clear this box and try this again. Right, so 25th, 1400, and this is... We've got a new follower. Who's our new follower? Mr. Wolf. Welcome, Mr. Wolf. I click add new schedule item. I've got some errors coming through. Look at that. We got a problem. On init async on availability view model 60. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. That's a problem. Availability view model line 60. I bet you this is something that we just put in there. Right? Availability view. You know, I can actually just do the 3 caps and we'll go find anything that has the 3 caps. You know? That's pretty cool. So line 60 here. This. It's telling me schedule repository isn't a thing. What? That should have been a thing. That should have been a thing. You're telling me that schedule repository wasn't passed in.
Listen.
Blazor compiles to WASM? Yes, it does. Metallica. It does. Did I set the repo register for DI? Sure did. It's right there. Oh, wait a sec. Configures a binding between the client type and a named client. The client will be the name of T client. Wait a sec. Did I do too much here? Type of the client, type of the implementation. Yeah. Will be registered in the service collection as a transient service. Yes. So it added it. So that, I mean, okay. I see what's being suggested here. You also need, right, services add, right, I schedule repository, schedule. Suggesting something like that. I don't think that's needed because HTTP client does that for you. But we'll give it a shot. Metallica says, I dislike these Microsoft patterns. Everything is so full of object-oriented in .NET, and that is hard to use with F#. Well, to be fair, .NET from the get-go, from its origins, was object-oriented. So, to continue with those patterns isn't too far off of where it was originated. To be fair, now, I think you make a very good point. It does make it difficult to interact with from F#, and F# is something that the team absolutely should be concerned with. Nope, didn't receive it. It's not there. So when it hits line 83 over here, right? Right, we aren't even getting into this stuff. Oh, availability razor 83. Right. That's here, down here where it's saying on init. Yeah. All right. Well then. So this isn't being resolved. This right here. The line on 18 is probably okay. The one on line 18. Yeah, I think you're right. But it's not... It's not hitting. Yeah, trial and error indeed. What if I... Do I need to add... Wait a sec. Where's my... Not that one. This one. Right. .NET Core Add HTTP client. Come here. Let's see this one. HTTP client factories. I don't want to receive a factory. I want to receive the the typed client right there. Right, so that's being done before we add the other things here. Should be okay at that point. HTTP context accessor? No, I'm not accessing the context of the request. I want to start a client request. Reading through chat. You don't want to use a machine learning language with object-oriented programming. Okay, that's fair. C# is getting enough, a bit of functional capabilities. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's becoming Scala. So why am I not picking that up? Named HTTP client factories. Yeah. We could try it named wise and create it appropriately. But that's going to give me a client. It's not going to give me the strongly typed object. Right, I want the typed one. Right, Twitter API client receives an HTTP client, stashes it away, and then does its things later. That feels... right, that's what I want to do, but it doesn't look like it's behaving. Wonder. If I go back over to the schedule repository object, right? Schedule repository. I wonder if... hey! Open that up. Thank you. What if I received an HTTP client factory? Right? Can I say... create client and specify the type? No, what's a name? I don't want a name. Right, I could do that. Let's see if I can get it to work this way, right? If I do that, I can also then do add HTTP client schedule like this. Now, why doesn't it like this one? Add transient. Right, that says every time that you want one of these, create a new one of these. Every time that one's requested. There's ways to change the scope so that it minimizes these. Can I not pass in a type arg and get the name from it? I could, but that's not the same. Right, let's see if this works. Oh, I just broke my tests. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm good. Right. These still work. Can't inject the factory if you do not do it named. Yeah. Kotlin is way simpler than C# and you don't see C# getting simpler. Yeah, they're adding features to the language. That's what a living, breathing language, programming language does. Is it grows, it adapts to the new needs as we invent on it, right? Fortran was updated how many times? And what, there's a version that was just released here in the 2000s of Fortran. There was, what, 72, 77, 90? And there's a 2005 or something? Living, breathing programming languages get features. And we're fortunate that C# has some really smart people that are adding features to it. So, let's see, that should work now. And I should get that. So... completely disagree about ecosystem versus the language. Those are two different things. Languages evolve. Consider async features in C#. First language to get those features. And now it's available in JavaScript. Now it's available... JavaScript has evolved how many times over the past 15 years? Completely new features in the language. That's different. That's definitely something. There we go. Object reference not set. It didn't receive... right, availability view model on line 60. Availability view model... here, schedule repository, it didn't receive one. Son of a gun! Did F# do async await before C#? May have. It did? Okay. It's all the same team. There's actually a language design board meeting that happens weekly at Microsoft, where you have the TypeScript folks, the C# folks, VB folks, F# folks, Q# folks, all get together and they discuss language features. Really, really interesting stuff. You've had Java on your education and you really hate it. Love C# because it is more simple and easier to learn. Okay. To each their own. I'm happy to encourage folks that like C# because that's my preferred language. If you like Java, that's great too. If we are equal opportunity offenders here. This makes me feel bad that it's not injecting the HTTP client factory at all with this. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that we're not getting HTTP client managed properly in Blazor apps. I have a feeling that it's not being injected properly. I think we're just getting a straight HTTP client and it's managing something else. Right? In which case... right, if this is just HTTP client... right? Oh, it's still running. My bad. In which case now go back over to startup. Yeah. The JVM world is more mature. The JVM world is being crippled by Oracle. There are people that are diving off of it left and right because of Oracle's stewardship, and it's a shame, but Oracle's not being the most friendly of stewards of the Java framework. Kotlin waiting for it to mature a bit. That's fair. That's fair. Blazor's still a bit lacking on readily available tooling for CSS, but that can be done manually. Blazor WASM is super fun though. It's coming, right? These are things that happen when you're developing something brand new, right? It has to evolve. Crap. a tick. So it's injecting that availability view model. But it's not, it's like it's not creating the availability view model, right? Through the, right through the, I'm not getting one of those, but I am getting the schedule state. The schedule state right is there. But it didn't give me one of these. I mean, do I have to... Do we need that? Is that what we're missing? Give that a shot while that's going. Oh my goodness. My company's moving away from JVM to Node, Go, and other environments. Let me ask you, Bad Hombres, why Node, Go, and other environments? Why choose Node and Go? Right? This is why people are doing new VMs, and OpenJDK is a viable solution. There's lots of folks building VMs, and I think to Oracle's to Oracle's detriment, they're fracturing their own ecosystem because of everybody creating their own JDKs. Their new Java runtimes. This is a problem, not JDK, I'm sorry, the Java virtual machines. This is going to be a problem, and it's going to bite them at some point. Because at some point, somebody's going to say, hey, I can add feature X. Now, given the history of Oracle, if somebody goes and tweaks and adds feature X, or makes it faster, or makes it better, in some way, shape, or form than Oracle, you better believe, given Oracle's history, I would believe that Oracle would pursue legal action against some other organization if they made a better, in some way, shape, or form, size, availability, whatever. If they made something better than Oracle in their JVM, I would, given Oracle's legal tendencies, I would believe that they're going to go after and torch whoever it is. You saw what they did with Google. I would not put it past them. Thank you for the follow, Kroggy. Appreciate you joining us. Welcome to Developer Politics Talk. I'm your host, Jeff Fritz. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to go around the horn today. We're going to welcome all of our friends to Developer Politics Talk. No. That's not what we're doing here. Dear Lord. Are you sure it isn't my schedule that is null? I'm not sure. Ed. Welcome, Ed. And Druid. I'm not sure how to pronounce the second half of that. Welcome. Appreciate the follows. That's a very good point here. I'm going round and round on this. Am I sure that it's... Where is it? Line 60. Here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the follow. Bad Hombres. Do you see what I did there? Circular reference. Jeff. No, that's not the right one. What are you doing? That's what it should have been. It was working the right way. Is it supposed to be Druid version? Is that... Am I reading your name right? Let me know. I had it. I had it working right. I had it. Look at this. Yeah, I do something bad and all the followers come through. Thank you. Is that Beast Co? Thanks so much. Ugh. Oh. I can't believe it. How did I miss that? That follower train is hot. Look at that, 7360. 40 to go, and we'll give out another sticker pack. And Mr. Mini Burger is here now too. Hello, welcome. There will be new languages. There will always be new languages, and that kind of goes back to a question that Metallica posed earlier. Would you rather a question back is, would you rather a language evolve and bring in new features, or would you rather cut bait? This is a dead language. We're not enhancing it anymore, and we're going to have a brand new language that has new features, syntax, compilers. Or would you rather be able to migrate and evolve with a language? I think migrating and evolving is a better solution for me. Other folks may want to cut bait and be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to use this anymore. Stop using Fortran. We're now going to use Visual Basic. Stop using Visual Basic. We're now going to use C#. Stop C#. We're now going to use Python. Whatever. That's up to you. Migrate and evolve. You can do that. It's going to be a big investment of time and money to migrate versus evolve. Just evolve the programming language, evolve the compiler, and slowly introduce new features into your application. So, okay, I fixed that back here in startup, so now it should be adding that properly. Do my tests still work now that I changed that? I bet you I broke my tests. I bet you I broke my tests. Generics, there's another .NET thing that started back in 2008. We got generics with .NET Core 3.5, .NET 3.5, and Visual Studio 2008. Build succeeded. Let's see if my tests ran properly, because I'm not sure if I broke them with that slight change. Nope, it works good. Let's retry this, and let's see if I got that fixed so it's injecting properly. How's it going, Mr. Mini Burger? Good to see you joining us. Let's see here. Yep, need to change HTTP client back. Whoa. It's still the same, right? No. Invalid request URI was provided. The request URI must be either an absolute URI or base address must be set. Okay. Sure. So what was my base address before? Druid version. Okay. Kind of like Vol'jin from WoW. I'll allow that. Yeah, I clicked allow. There we go. Yep. No, 2005 was .NET Framework 2.0 and Visual Studio 2.0. Visual Studio 2005 didn't come out until 3.5. .NET Framework 3.5. Yeah, 2.0 didn't have generics. It was 3.5, I thought, because it was a WCF supporting feature. Okay, so the request URI. I thought I had request URI set up. Right, the request URI is over here. Let's go back and look at this. Right. So the HTTP client that was being passed in, right, was being injected from, well, what's startup have for HTTP client? It doesn't have a configuration for it. So it was just injecting it and just going to wherever. Well, how do I know what the local page is? Generics were in 2.0? First introduced in .NET Framework 2.0. I stand corrected. Good catch. Okay. Why did I think it was 3.5? Yeah. So, okay, 2005. So it's almost 15 years we've had generics in .NET. Good catch. Thank you. Thank you, chat room. Yeah. You got that one. Very good. So I think I need an HTTP. No. Async await was 4. Was one of the 4s. 3.5 had ASP.NET, MVC, and yeah, WCF, WPF, WF. So, so I need to set the HTTP client base address because it's occurring inside. So I need the HTTP context accessor, right? To be passed in. Oh boy. Right? HTTP context accessor, right? This is how do I, not in server side, I want it in client side. Not in server side. Right, because I need to get the base address that we're being hosted at so that I know where to go back to. Yes, 3.5. Well, extension methods came along with generics so that you could add custom capabilities. Right? Yeah, on IEnumerable types with system link. So, it's been a long road and interesting history for .NET language features. Right, but language features that also change the framework are very interesting. Link and generics change the framework. Drat, how do I get the Blazor? Get the host name. I want to get the host name, so I know where to request to. Yeah. No. Right, so my error I'm getting here is must either be an absolute URI. Well, wait a sec. Hang on. The URI that's being requested is here. What happens if I just change it like that? Right? Can it be that simple? Maybe. Let's see. Hopefully it's that simple. I mean, that's an absolute path. It's not an absolute URI with an HTTP. I think I need the full HTTP in it, but I don't know. Okay. Nope. Or the base address must be set. So I don't know the base address. I don't know the base address because I don't know where I'm being hosted. But I should be able to access that, right? Where is the gritty monsters? Rocket propelled Freeman, good to see you. Are you kidding? There's gritty all over the place here. Gritty everywhere. Gritty, gritty, gritty. Right? Lots of gritty. There they go. So that request URI, how do I get the... Right? How do I get the base address for my Blazor application? Base address for a Blazor application. Right, there's got to be something like that. No. No. Ooh, no. Maybe. Huh? No. Get started with Blazor. No. Let's see. This is Blazor server side. Yeah. What do you got, Simon? Karsten has get required service IURI helper. Ah. Let's do that over here. So if I'm receiving that here, I could receive IURI helper. You might be onto something. Right, so I should then be able to say client dot base address equals URI helper get base URI. Maybe that'll do it. That's a string. That's a URI. Really? See if that hits it. That might be the right one. Thank you for calling that out, Simon. I missed Karsten's mention there. Window.location I could hit with JavaScript. You're right, PT Muta. I could. And pass that information along. That's not a bad idea to do it that way either. Right? But this is something that should be available. Cannot invoke method because it was wiped. Because it was wiped. See the stack trace. Send async on HTTP client handler. Really? Okay. Well, that does make me feel good. What do you mean it was wiped? Yeah, that's pre-rendering. Configuring the host, okay. Oh, okay, so where I'm setting it here, I see what you've got there. Let me go back to startup. So add HTTP client. And in the configuration, well, and you're doing it, it's doing it scoped. Interesting. Can I set the scope? Well, there's the configuration of it. The name. All right, let's pass the configuration in. Right? So what Karsten has for us here is var URI helper equals no. It it's adding a scoped HTTP client first. Like that. And controlling the scope. Why don't you like HTTP client being passed like that? Yeah. Okay. Now let's... equals s get required service I URI helper. Right, so now I've got a URI helper. Why don't you like that? Yeah, I know. Return new HTTP client. Base address equals new URI. Yeah, it's fine. URI helper get base. That should work. Which tells me then down here, wait a sec, I got a couple extra. Don't need that one. Good. I worry about this one. Let's see what happens. What's the difference between scope transient and singleton? Asks Drolly. They're the different ways that the dependency injection container manages them. Transient says every time one of these is requested, create a new one. So it's constantly creating new ones. Scoped says create one for each request. For each HTTP request that comes in. Well, in a Blazor application, it'll create one for the duration of your presence, which is almost the same in Blazor as singleton. Singleton, particularly on a web server, says create one and only one of this object ever. No, that blowed up. Invalid request URI. Must be an absolute URI or base address. So, let's go back. So where we did get required service here, and it brought back the HTTP client. Maybe I just add this transient, because it'll then inject the HTTP client it created into this. Let's see if that does it. Oh, can it be transient? Yes, because it's going to be created more frequently than the other. So we're okay, I think, on this. Ha-ha! There it is. Okay, that didn't load properly, but we got the data. Okay. You're right. I think we may have to change that to scoped. Otherwise, it'll be destroyed. Right, this should probably be add scoped. Okay. So we've got it loading the data properly. We got past that initial error, so we at least have it painting the page, right? But it's still not painting and loading the controls properly as we click through them. And save does not appear to capture dates properly. We got this working. Let's see if we can get that working and call it a day here, because we are way long. Right? Dear Lord, we're so over. Yeah, and I've got a couple other things we gotta take care of here today. Here at the Fritz house. Okay, come on. Load up here. Show me what you got. Show me the money. Show me the money. Do it. Come on. Come on.
Make it so.
Load already.
You can do it!
Please. Please? Okay. I'll log in. Yep. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. F12, so I can see what's going on here. Click the availability deal. All right. Name of the appointment, that interview with Emma. I'm going to click through here. It's the 25th, 14, and this will be the 25th. No, 16, right? Add. Ah, now we're through. Okay. So it attached to the schedule. If I look at the schedule object, it has 2 schedule items now. Okay. There it is, interview with Emma. That's not the start date time that I keyed in. That is completely wrong. That is no good. That is very bad. Where did you get those dates from? You make me sad. That's not what I selected. That's annoying. That's really annoying. Let's go to the network call. Blah, 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 blah. There it is. That's the post that it made. That it attempted. Right, if we look at the headers, there's the payload. Right, schedule items there. Interview with Emma. Now, why did it send through 2 of them? I think I have a second one on there is what it is. Yeah, there's the second. Well, okay, hang on. Hang on. The end date time and the start date time, even though I set 8/25/2019, it put through the wrong dates. I'm not even at UTC local date time issues, Gareth. Or time zone bricky. No, that's not a time zone deal. It flat out discarded what I keyed in and put something completely different. It sent the first one as the correct date, but UTC. No, 8/17. It's no. It said it with the right time of day for the start, right? For the start, but the end it flipped and it put it to the wrong date altogether. No. So something's afoot in here. At the point that it's being passed, where is it? Being passed there, it's not right. It's not right. Not right at all. Right? The new schedule item. So let's go back over to availability. Right? Binding the name, okay. So this is a date time input, and it should be the start date time. Is it not? Date time input is our own deal. What? Oh. It is in the client project. Shared. Date time input. This is the one that we created. So we're binding to that format. What's being returned out of here is not that value. Okay. We know where the problem is. I need to call it there. It is, we are way late. And I am going to wrap it up there. I'm going to commit this stuff. We had some really good conversations today. But I know where I need to dig into this and figure out the next steps here. And we added a new test project along the way as well. So I feel pretty good about that. So added unit test project and validation to save of schedule items. Save of, let's just say save of availability. right? There it goes. I'm going to push those. I'm in the wrong. There it goes. Fantastic. Right. So I know where I need to go. I know that the problem is, right, this. I'm going to add a description here. The date time input component is not properly returning the the value selected. So we know where to go to fix this. It's inside that component. We'll dig into that Tuesday when we come back. All right. That was a lot, and we got a bunch identified, resolved there. I think we got this moving in the right direction, and that makes me happy. That's the important part. You know who we haven't raided that we need to raid right now? Oh my gosh. We're gonna raid the dog himself. Can I put a PR to the main repo? Sure. Why didn't my pull request doodad appear here? There it is. Let me send this through. Nope, not into master, into dev. Oh yeah. I need to rebase and clean this up a little bit. Nope, can't merge. What do you mean you can't merge? Of course you can merge. What do we got? Branch it? Put it in a branch? Sure, we'll put it in its own branch. No, I already set the branch properly. No, I'm going to the right branches. Dev and dev. Chat lag. Ah, good. So we're gonna say adding unit tests and fixing availability data. Data save. There we go. Can't automatically merge, which means I'm gonna need to do, yeah, conflicting files. This shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, look at that. You turkey. They're the same. This one. We're accepting the incoming change. Good. Commit it. Let's get it in there. Come on! Go! Thank you. Yep. I didn't want to squash and merge. Don't squash and merge. Don't squash and merge. Just merge. And we're going to have to rebase this in the future and just make everybody unhappy at me. Yeah. Right, do it. There it goes. Delete my dev branch, and I'll pull and rebase, and we'll have a good thing here. Fantastic. Here we go. I'm going to set up the raid call, and we're going to raid the dog. Let's get this set up. If you're a subscriber, grab the top line of that raid call and copy it onto your clipboard. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Grab the second line, copy it onto your clipboard, and we are going to raid Talk to Me Gooseman. This is Eric Gooseman. He's running Face Rig, and he looks like a dog right now, and he's working on an extension for Twitch. Check it out. He's over there on Talk to Me Gooseman. It's the channel we're going to be headed to. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Like I said, I'll be back on Tuesday. This video, like my other videos, will be over on YouTube in about a day or two. I got to take some time and clean up some older videos, get them all migrated over. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And get ready to say hello to Eric as we transition over there to his channel. Take care.